latest developments in a story that has been developing all day and certainly has the entire NBA world talking and beyond. The Memphis Grizzlies announced that Ja Morant will be away from the team for at least the next 2 games shortly after the NBA announced an investigation of a social media post in which Morant appears to be holding a gun. The video was posted early this morning at a nightclub. If the NBA concludes any wrongdoing, Morant could face punishment from the league. Now, ahead of this video surfacing on Instagram this morning, Morant and/or his associates have been under investigation by police or the league for their connection to a number of incidents. The Washington Post detailed 2 situations last summer in Memphis where Morant faced accusations, but in both cases, no charges were filed. The league also investigated an incident on January 29th between Morant acquaintances and the Pacers traveling party, which the NBA could not corroborate. Now, the league is investigating this IG video from early this morning. And as I mentioned, our NBA insider, Adrian Wojnarowski, is here. He's been working the story all day. And Woj, you received the statement from Ja Morant today. Let me read that for everyone. Ja said, "I take full responsibility for my actions last night. I'm sorry to my family, teammates, coaches, fans, partners, the city of Memphis, and the entire Grizzlies organization for letting you down. I'm going to take some time away to get help and work on learning better methods of dealing with stress and my overall well-being." It's worth noting Morant has also deactivated both his Instagram and Twitter accounts today. So, Woj, that is what we have off the top. What more can you tell us?
Well, the Grizzlies now have essentially sent Ja Morant away for at least 2 games. It is a de facto suspension, but more than punitive. This is a chance now, I think, for Ja Morant to get the help he might need, the time, the space. And I think that people who are invested in Ja Morant within Memphis, within his family, within the league, they are encouraged by this tonight, that they saw Ja Morant in that statement you read, Greeny, acknowledge a situation in a way that he had not in any of these previously. They've seen him take ownership of it. And I think there are a lot of people who think that is a great step for him. And now they want to give him all the time he needs to get whatever help is necessary, take whatever time is necessary. And listen, the league has spent a lot of time and a lot of man hours investigating situations with Ja Morant in the last year. And there was concern at the league level, again in Memphis, about a pattern of behavior that was starting to spiral. And I think there was some sense of relief today that it is now being dealt with. It's going to be handled. This is a massive player for the league, certainly for the Memphis organization. And I think there's hope now, especially with how Ja Morant is owning this situation, that he can take all the time he needs. The league is investigating. They could theoretically suspend him, but I think more importantly now, he's going to miss time. I think what the league wants, what the team wants, what those around Morant wants is to get the help, the space he needs right now to deal with, as he said, the pressures and issues surrounding his life right now.
It's outstanding work today, as always. And, of course, Woj will continue to bring us any further details as the story continues to develop. We bring Michael Wilbon into the conversation as well tonight. He is with us from the desert in Scottsdale, Arizona. And very quickly, I will just show you, we say that he's going to miss at least 2 games. Here's the Grizzlies' upcoming schedule. For what this is worth, obviously, it's a story that goes well beyond the basketball piece of it. But there is significance, of course, to his being away. He's a superstar player. They play both L.A. teams over the course of the next few days. Thursday, you see the Warriors, and then back-to-back games with the Mavericks. As Woj told you, there is not clarity as of this point as to when we should expect to see him back on the floor. In the meantime, this is certainly something that pretty much everyone around the NBA world and beyond has thoughts on. Stephan A, we'll start with you. What are yours?
Producers, if you struggle finding sounds and samples that work for you, then you have to check out this plugin.
Well, I want to first say that I want to preface my comments by saying that I'm really proud of the statement that Ja Morant put out. It was necessary. It was apropos, no doubt about that. And I want to make sure that Ja Morant, his family, his friends, and everybody understands that all of us up here are fans of his. And anything that we say, myself, Wilbon, Jalen Rose, Woj, anybody, we're saying it in the best interest of his future. I covered Allen Iverson for the first 10 years of his career, every day. And when I tell you that was a beat in and of itself, WOJ knows what I'm talking about with that. Everybody knows what I'm talking about there. It was a different level, okay? But when you look at Ja Morant, the one thing that I find incredibly alarming, there was so much stuff that Allen Iverson took hits for that had nothing to do with him, but everything to do with the company he kept. And because from the streets, very loyal, ain't diming out anybody, he take a lot of hits. In this particular instance, that's Ja on film. That's Ja that you see on the TMZ video. He had no choice but to own that, to be honest with you. And so I applaud him for embracing that. But when you bring into account the other incidences, let me look in the camera and say what I'm about to say to Ja Morant. You are a superstar. You're 23 years old. You got a deal that kicks in next year that could exceed $231 million over the next 5 years. And on this show, on national television, there's you associated with police. Think about that for a second. And then ask yourself, is it really, really worth it? You know the answer to that, bro. It's not worth it. You're a superstar basketball player. You represent your organization. You represent your family. You represent your city. You've got to be mindful of all of that. It's never off. And so many times we don't tell these players this. NBA has off-duty police officers. They've got connections with the FBI. They got connections with everybody. The NBA knows what you're doing. They know who you're doing it with. They know where you are. They know how you're conducting yourself at all times. Don't think they're not watching. They're always watching. And when I get upset is that...
Ooh. Hold on. He just spilled some beans.
FBI, they got connections. Represent your family, you represent your city. You've got to be mindful of all of that. It's never off. And so many times we don't tell these players this. NBA has off-duty police officers. They've got connections with the FBI. They got connections with everybody. The NBA knows what you're doing. They know who you're doing it with. They know where you are. They know how you're conducting yourself at all times. Don't think they're not watching. They're always watching. And when I get upset, is that all of us, Jalen's from the streets of New York, Detroit, I'm from the streets of New York City. You know, we know this kind of stuff. We know the kind of things that people fight just to protect the few dollars they have. What do you think an organization is going to do to protect their multi-billion-dollar investment? They will spare no expense. They will do whatever they can. So I want him to be mindful of that, be aware of that, understand that you're in a different stratosphere. You got to conduct yourself properly. I'm going to say it to his boys as well. I had the pleasure of meeting them in Dallas this summer. I think good dudes, hearts in the right place. They mean him no harm. But you got to step up and be protective of yourself and be protective of him by the way you conduct yourself. That laser that was allegedly pointing at the Indiana Pacers. You can't have stuff like that coming on. You can't have stuff. And last but not least, his dad, to T. Morant. Nothing but love and respect for you, sir. You are his daddy, not his friend. His daddy. I'm not saying you can't be friends, but you're his father. And so when we see this kind of stuff going on, all of y'all get lumped in because it ain't just a 23-year-old Ja Morant that needs to protect himself. It's all of you who love him, who want to protect him, who wishes for the best for him. You have an obligation to look out for him too. Do it.
It's really well said. Michael Wilbon is from Chicago, by the way. Michael, what are your thoughts today?
They're between sad and angry.
Ja, you got a lot to protect. You ain't trying to miss out on none of this money, is you? Yeah, man, let me know what y'all think. That was Stephan A and WOJ on the future of Ja Morant, man. Like, comment, subscribe, roll to 700, man. Appreciate y'all.